to destroy terrorist hideouts, inflicting on them heavy losses. Iran warns against the danger of foreign intervention in the internal affairs of regional states. The Egyptians are getting ready for a new million-strong anti-Morsi demonstration in front of the presidential Al-Ittihadiyya palace. Good afternoon, this is Zira Krikorian with the news in English. Our army units have continued to pursue Al-Qaeda-linked terrorists in several areas. In Aqraba, in Damascus suburbs, an army unit clashed with an armed terrorist group at the entrance of the town, killing 4 snipers who had been targeting citizens. Moreover, as the army pursues its operations in Aleppo suburbs, it has completely cleared Al-Kindi hospital of the armed terrorist groups. Our armed forces have meanwhile restored regular traffic to the external road of Aleppo International Airport after clearing it of the mercenary terrorists. Moreover, a popular march in Al-Maadi neighborhood in Aleppo has called for expelling the armed terrorist groups from the area. In Deir ez-Zor, army units clashed with terrorists in Al-Jbayle, Al-Urfi and Sheikh Yassin neighborhoods, killing a large number of them. Another army unit eliminated several terrorists who had tried to infiltrate into Cinema Fuad Street and others belonging to the so-called Al-Mustafa Battalion in At-Takaya Street. Moreover, the army killed a number of terrorists from the so-called Al-Qadisiyya Battalion and injured others in Hatla district in the governorate's suburbs. In Al-Hasaka suburbs, an armed terrorist group in Syrian army uniform attacked Nestel station for electricity energy distribution and stole its equipment. Work is underway to get the station back into service. The Syrian network of human rights condemned the crimes committed by the armed terrorist groups against children, calling on the UNICEF organization to denounce these crimes and violations. The network also warned against beginning up a generation accustomed to violence and terrorism, calling on the UNICEF organization to condemn these crimes committed by the terrorist groups against humanity and childhood. Russia's permanent representative to the UN, Vitaly Churkin, has referred to the presence of data indicating that the anti-aircraft missile systems smuggled from Libya are used by armed groups in Syria. Russia Today website has quoted Churkin as saying during a UN Security Council's session last night that armed smuggling from Libya causes constant headaches, not only to its neighboring countries. He pointed out that Russia was ready to offer various kinds of assistance to the African coast and desert states which face internal economic and political problems. He added that the crucial thing is to abide by the decision to prevent arms smuggling from Libya, including anti-aircraft missiles, as stipulated in a relevant UN Security Council's resolution. Iran warned against the danger of foreign intervention in the internal affairs of regional countries, asserting that such intervention would harm the national and regional interests of all countries. The Iranian warning came by the spokesman of Foreign Affairs, Ramin Mahmanparast, who said that Middle East issues should be addressed carefully in light of the attempts by Western powers, the domineering countries and the defenders of the Zionist entity to destabilize the security of the region, and that we have to monitor the presence of foreign forces, not allowing them to increase, because this would undermine the stability and peace, leading to clashes between the countries in the region. In another context, Mahmanparast reasserted Iran's right to obtain peaceful nuclear energy and its support for constructive talks on its nuclear program, calling on the US and the Western countries to respect this right. The Iranian Revolution's supreme mentor for international affairs, Ali Akbar Wilayati, has said that the West and the reactionary in the region have worked to create a faked movement under the cover of Islamic awakening. However, the attempts to undermine Syria with the force of arms have failed, he added, thanks to its people's steadfastness and resistance of terrorism. On the sideline of the International Conference of University Professors and Islamic Awakening, which opened its activities in Tehran with Syria's participation, Wilayati said, "The Syrian people are well aware of the West's and the reactionaries' intentions." He pointed out that the foreign armed men who are fighting in Syria belong to al-Qaeda organization. Minister of Information Omran al-Zabi said that the victories which some media claim to be achieved by the armed terrorist groups in Syria are only fake media victories and they do not exist on the ground. In an interview with Al-Manar channel, al-Zabi said that there are confrontations in certain areas in Damascus countryside and there are desperate attempts by the terrorist organizations that receive money to achieve any kind of gain whatsoever while life goes on as normal in Damascus. Mr. al-Zabi added that these terrorist groups are takfiri and extremist groups, as this is well known for everybody inside Syria and abroad at the international level. Al-Zabi pointed out that Syria, with all its civil and military institutions, is well aware of the nature of confrontations with the scheme of the enemy, and it is working to protect all the institutions and infrastructure of the country. The information minister asserted that the repeated US and European talk on chemical weapons in Syria has only one reason, which is the inability to accomplish any realistic progress on the ground that allows them to say they can overthrow the government in Syria. Preparations continued in the Egyptian capital Cairo and other cities for mass demonstrations today that are planned to head towards the presidential palace at Tahrir Square and other main squares in the country. The demonstrations are in response to a call by the National Rescue Front and other political parties in protest against next Saturday's referendum on a draft constitution and against the recent constitutional declaration. Meanwhile, a state of alert and anger prevailed in Tahrir Square following attacks by gunfire, burning bottles and other white weapons that were carried out by masked groups against the protesters who condemned Morsi's decisions. The attacks led to the killing of one man and the injury of at least 9 others. In cooperation with the UN Population Fund, the People's Assembly has organized a workshop on supervision and assessment of population and development issues. The workshop discussed the concepts of monitoring and evaluation, which lead to a clear and regular process through which the participants learn and understand the ties between the functions of administration and the creation of the necessary circumstances and potentials to implement the process of monitoring and evaluation, which aims at serving the society. The workshop is part of a project to enhance national potentials and integrate the issues of population, birth-giving health and social gender within the local plans and programs for 2012. With this, we conclude our news bulletin for today. Thank you for watching. For more information about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. And now over to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam after a short break.